Dear friends, welcome to our YouTube channel eCommerce for the World. In this video, we will see a very important topic, how to respond to buyers' feedback. Right, we are into this Amazon Seller Central, that to mobile application. Just see under help section, you could find resolve or respond to buyer feedback. In case if you receive negative feedback from any buyer, it is important to determine the cause of the problem quickly and to work towards resolving it. And note that the guidelines below apply only to seller feedback, not customer reviews. Okay, please note that it is not applicable for customer reviews, but only for seller feedback. The buyer will give a feedback for the seller, right? So how to respond to that? For specific guidelines about customer reviews, we need to go to customer review, that is separate. Okay, here we are dealing only with buyer feedback. Okay, how to resolve or how to respond. And resolve buyer feedback when a buyer posts a negative seller feedback. Okay, we encourage you to contact the buyer individually to resolve the problem. Right, Amazon is asking us to contact the buyer to resolve that problem, whatever the problem it is. After resolving their concerns, you can notify the buyer that it is possible to update, remove or provide additional feedback if you would like to do so. Right, but at the same time, Amazon is saying that pressurizing or incentivizing a buyer to remove or modify negative feedback is a violation of Amazon policy. Okay, Amazon is allowing us to resolve the concern of the buyer, and the buyer of this buyer, and the seller can update the buyer that it is possible to update, remove or provide additional feedback. Okay, but at the same time, we should not pressurize or giving some incentives like discount or coupon or whatever it is for the next purchase. Like that, we should not give. Okay, so we should not pressurize or incentivize. An example of violation of policy, like mentioning, like, would you be willing to remove your feedback if we provide you with a coupon for 25% off your next purchase? Right, like that, we should not give any incentives. It is violation of Amazon policy. And to contact a buyer about negative feedback, we need to go, these are the steps to be followed in order to contact a buyer regarding negative feedback. On the orders menu, we need to go to, first of all, orders menu, then select the manage orders. In that, locate the order about which you want to contact the buyer. That's just to go to that particular order, and then we need to contact the buyer. Click the name of the buyer in the order details column. There is a option, there is a tab in which there is a name of the buyer. So just we need to click in that. On the contact customer page, do the following. What we need to do is that from the subject drop down menu, choose a subject, for example feedback request, and then in the message area type your message, whatever the message you just want to convey to your buyer. Then use add attachment for receipts, supporting documents and so on if required. Okay, otherwise you can just leave it. Then fifth step is click send email to send your message to your buyer. Okay, note, buyers can remove their feedback on a seller transaction at any time within 60 calendar days. Okay, buyers can remove their feedback on a seller transaction at any time within 60 calendar days from the date on which they originally left the feedback. Okay, so within 60 days they can able to remove their feedback, right? So we need to ensure that we contact the buyer within that particular 60 days time. Okay, and incorrect feedback. If a buyer makes a mistake when evaluating and submitting feedback, you cannot edit it. That is, the seller cannot edit it. but the buyer can delete that, okay, which is incorrect feedback. So we can try, the seller can try to contact the buyer, and the buyer, if he wishes, he may delete it, right? He have the option to delete it, but the seller have no option to edit it, okay. So that is a very important point to note. Respond to buyer feedback. If you work with a buyer to resolve a situation, but the buyer decides not to remove or modify negative feedback, you may choose to post a response on the website, which is displayed on the Amazon website. That is, if after you try to contact the buyer, but the buyer decides not to remove or modify the negative feedback, then they may choose to post a response on the website, okay. We can post a response which will be publicly displayed in on the Amazon website. Your response will be available for public viewing, and do not use this as a way to communicate with the buyer. You should not use this as a purpose to communicate with the buyer, okay. In your posting, you can explain how you work to correct the problem. Your response will not change your feedback rating, but other buyers will be able to read your explanation when they see the buyer's feedback, okay. This is the point. When replying to negative feedback, keep your comments brief and professional, right? Even if the buyer comment is not courteous, replying in a similar manner can backfire and reflect badly on you. So even if the buyer comments is not decent, right, the seller has to be professional and decent, and he has to reply to that or make a comment to that particular feedback in a professional manner, without being even if the buyer comment is not courteous, okay. That is a point. The step is, in the seller central, you need to click the feedback under the performance header, performance section. You need to go, then feedback, click the order ID of the feedback that you want to reply, and the third step is click respond to feedback in the manage feedback section, and fourth step is enter your response. Then final step is you need to click submit. After you submit your response, you cannot edit it, okay. The seller, once you submitted the response, the seller cannot edit it, but you can delete it. Therefore we need to be very concise, precise, and politely we need to reply, but very shrewdly, okay. That is very important. And if you delete your response, you cannot submit a second response. So we have to be very careful while responding to the buyer feedback, okay. In addition, if a buyer removes or modifies that feedback, your response is also removed, and you can submit a new response, okay. To remove your response, we need to go to seller central in Amazon, click feedback under the performance header, click the order ID of the feedback containing your response. Then third step, find the comment that you want to remove and click request removal, okay. Then fourth step is click request removal again to confirm, or click cancel to cancel your request, okay. So this is a point. So if the main point is, if a buyer gives you a negative feedback, we can try to contact the buyer and request him. First of all, we need to remove whatever the concerns he faces, okay, he thinks or he feels. Once that concern is solved, we can request him that editing or deleting is possible, and if he wishes, okay, good, well and good. If he do not want to remove that feedback, then no other option, only the seller has to respond, but he need to respond in a polite way, courteous way, even though the buyer has not responded in a decent way, okay. So that is a point to be noted. So this applies not only to Amazon, almost all the e-commerce platform that we do e-commerce. Thank you, friends. Whenever we have free time, we will share our experience with you, e-commerce experience, e-commerce journey with you. If you are not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching.